channel Creative Art. I am Nilima,
and in today's tutorial we are going to make this beautiful timeless look sculpture painting of lilies. For the background, I have given a very beautiful shimmering silver touch which also gives it a timeless look. At the same time, keeping the brightness and the beauty of lilies, and this is how the complete piece looks. So friends, do watch the complete tutorial to make this beautiful sculpture painting of lilies yourself, and do subscribe to Creative Art for more creative art painting tutorials, and do press the bell icon so you don't miss any updates on a recent art form. Now friends, let's check out all the materials I used to make this beautiful sculpture painting. First of all, we are going to need sculpture paste and palette knife. So for sculpture paste, I love to prefer decorative plaster sculpture paste from Decor1ative. This time I have used white, blush and green color sculpture paste to make this painting. Other than that, for palette knives, I'm going to use a palette knife number 15 from Mount Martha and palette knife number 10 from Mount Martha. Next, for base, I'm going to use a thick oval shape cutout plywood piece of 14 into 9 inches. This is how it looks. Its thickness is about 5 mm. To prepare the base, I'm going to use white color sculpture paste, then mixing it with a little bit of mauve color to get a darker shade, and use this beautiful stencil to get that design from Craft Treat, and some silver paint from my local shop to add this glittery shine on the base. To make this beautiful timeless look antique border, I have used a Fevicryl molded, which is an air dry clay, and a silicone mold which looks like this. For coloring, I have made use of acrylic colors: olive green, fresh green, white, yellow, neon pink and pink 18. For brush, I have used brush number 8, brush number 00 and brush number 1. For additional pigments, I have also made use of silver powder pigments from Camel. For center, I have used pollens. These are called rice pollens, and these are few glittering silver pollens. You can also buy the center pollens from any craft store. So friends, these are all the materials I have used this time. You can check out the entire list of all these materials in the description box below with their links from where you can buy them online. To buy this sculpture paste, I will also mention the brand owner's number so you can contact her easily to buy this wonderful sculpture paste yourself. So now let's start the tutorial, friends. I started doing this painting as a practice, but now I think that I should really video shoot the entire process to show you how it is going on. So now, first of all, I'll show you how I started from the base, for which I'm going to use the off-white color sculpture paste for my base. I'm directly taking it from the box. This is sculpture paste from Decor1ative. I'm using palette knife number 8 from Decor1ative and spread it on the base in this way. After doing the base layer using this off-white color sculpture paste, we will let it get dry for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Now I'm going to use this stencil, and using this stencil I'm going to make a light purple background. So hold the stencil in this way and then start applying the sculpture paste in one direction in this way. And now gently lift up the stencil from one side and then remove it in this way, and this is how the design will look. Now let's make few lilies. For that, I'm going to use a decorative plaster sculpture paste from Decor1ative and I'm going to use two different colors. The first one is blush and the second one is coral. So this is how the sculpture paste look. I have also used the same boxes in my previous tutorial. And for my base, I'm using a palette. This is a sculpture painting palette. For palette knives, I'm going to make use of two different similar shape of palette knives, but this one is bigger. This is number 15 from Mount Martha and this one is number 10. So both do have a similar shape but do differ in different sizes. So first of all, I'm going to scoop out some coral color sculpture paste. My box is just about to end. You don't have to even pre-mix this sculpture paste because it is already so smooth in texture and absolutely ready to use. Gives a perfect finishing. I'm going to spread it out on my base in this way. After placing coral, I'm going to take some blush color sculpture paste, scoop it out, place it exactly in the bottom in this way and then spread it. In the middle, I'm just going to mix both the sculpture paste slightly. Now using palette knife number 16, I'm going to start scraping sculpture paste from one side of the palette knife in this way. First of all, I'm just scraping blush color because I do want a lighter shade in the center. So I'll just scrape out some blush sculpture paste in this way. Then moving towards the coral color. Okay, you can see I have got enough sculpture paste on this side. I'm again scraping to the darker side and this way. Okay, so you can see here we have a little bit of darker shade and this one is lighter shade. So here you can see on the opposite side I've got some excess. So I'm going to just cut off that excess in this way. Clean out this side, which is the colored side. And then I'm going to scrape out a little bit more of the same pink color so I have a very good and clear edging. So here we have completely pink. Now just place your palette knife in this way and drag it downside. So you can see here we have got such a beautiful nice shading one side petal. I'm going to cut it from this much part. Yes. So here we have got the half part of petal. For the next, we are going to do the same process by first scraping out some blush. For that, let's clean our palette knife. Clean the back side of the palette knife, then start scraping blush from the other side of your palette knife in this way. And then start scraping the coral color sculpture paste till you get an excess over this side. Okay, I think I have got enough excess on this side, so I'm going to remove this lighter shade. And you can see how beautiful shading petal I have got on the back side. I'm going to remove some excess from this side. Collect a little bit more for sharpness. And then place it in this direction, gently and smoothly. Cut out the excess we're not going to need. Gently smoothen up the sides. I'm going to gently lift one side of the petal in this way and place it on the second side. For this, I'm going to use one more palette knife. So using this, it would be easy for me to slide away. So here we have got our first petal. Gently give it shape according to your requirement. As you want it to flip or slide. You want it thick or you want it thin and lift it up just using my palette knife. And I'm going to pick it up and place it on my next tray in this way. Okay, so here I can easily make a flower or give it shape as I want. Till that, let's make more petals. Now let's make the other half side. Now in the same way, I have made so many petals. So now let's start placing them to make the lily. Now one by one, I'll just lift up the petals and place them close to form the formation of lily. Now just for the bottom side, so that the petals are much more lifted, I'm going to place some extra sculpture paste right here underneath. So this can provide a proper support. Want to certainly place this one at a more higher background like this with a more volume. Place one more chunk of clay right here, and then let's put the final piece a little long here. Just need a little help here, and I think it's fine. Turn out the entire flower and look at all the positions. Now there's one last thing we need to do is that cover up all the bottom sculpture paste that you have placed under the petals so that that clay is not visible enough. You can also use a wet brush to adjust the center part of the clay or the flower in this way. Just try to give it some depth and gently connect the petals. Now this is how our lily looks when we have finally completed placing all the 6 petals. Placing the petals exactly according to your wish or direction or angle is really important because that will give the entire dimension or the face to the flower. For example, this time I have kept the face as front face, but you can also keep the lily in the inverted way or an angular way. So for beginners, this is the easiest way you can place the petals. Either you can place 3 petals first and then next 3, or else you can combine and place all 6 petals in this way. So this is how you can make a lily by yourself. Now in the same way, friends, I have placed a lily on the bottom of our base and it is finally dry, and this is how it looks. I actually missed this clip of placing all the petals on the base, so I specially made this clip where I have shown you to make a complete lily. So for this part, you can see both the lilies are similar. It looks exactly the same, just this one is dry and this one is wet, and both are blooming from the front face. This is how it looks. Now let me show you how we can make a bud in the same way. Now in the same way, I have made more 3 leaves, and now we are going to prepare some paste for the center to get that oval shape. We're going to need a cylindrical scoop like this. Pick it up in your palette knife and then place first layer of extra sculpture paste in this way. Now one by one, I'm going to pick up these petals and we're going to place it on our base. So using a palette knife, gently pick up a petal like this. Then place it. Place the next one gently like this. And then finally, I'm going to pick up a third one. Gently place it in between rest of 2. So once you have placed all the petals, it's time to give it shape. Okay, take a look from the side. They're looking so good. That's how the bud will look from the front. Now let's make few leaves for lily flowers, and for that I'm going to use green color decorative plaster sculpture paste from Decor1ative. Scoop the amount of sculpture paste you're going to need. Then using palette knife number 10, I'm going to spread it in this way first. Clean the back side of the palette knife. To make bigger size of leaves, use palette knife number 15 Mount Martha, and to make small size of leaves, use palette knife number 10. So first of all, I'm going to use the bigger palette knife. Using this palette knife, start scraping sculpture paste from one side in this way. Cut out the excess. When you get a clean line like this, you can gently press in this way and then get a nice leaf. So we are going to need this kind of small and thin leaves. Scrape more sculpture paste in the same way. Clean the edge. You should get a nice clean look edge, and then make another leaf. And then pick the leaf up in this way. This is how each leaf should look. Now repeat the same steps to make more leaves. First of all, spread out the sculpture paste in this way. Then use the palette knife number 15. Make sure that the back side of knife is nice and clean. Remove the excess in this way, and then gently place the leaf. Now do the same step to make leaf for other side also. Start scraping from the opposite side of palette knife. Give it a slice cut and then press it and place it. In the same way, make as many as leaves you need, from small to big. Now in the same way, I have made these many leaves because this is lily and they do have a lot of leaves in the bottom. So these many leaves I have made in the same way from the left and for the right side. I do have a little amount of sculpture paste remaining in my hand. So I'll simply roll it down to make a stem. These lilies do have thick stem at the bottom, and at the edging of the lilies they do have a very thin stem. So accordingly we are going to place the stem. After rolling the sculpture paste, this is how it will look. So this is a perfect size to place my stem. I'm going to add a little bit of Fevicol. Place it exactly where I want it to be. And the final stem right here. Now starts the main and most important part of placing leaves. So one by one, just lift out the leaves you made and place them accordingly as you want. Now finally I have completed placing all the leaves, and I have almost placed all the 30 leaves I made, and finally this is how it looks. So for now I will let it get settled, let all the leaves get dry, and then we can start our next step, which is coloring and placing the center for these lilies. Okay? Now after 24 hours, all the leaves and flowers are dry completely, and I have also placed this beautiful clay border on the side. So now friends, let's start our coloring part, for which I'm going to use acrylic paint. And first of all, I'm going to use white acrylic paint, and using a flat hair brush, we're going to color the sides clay border of our painting in this way. Simply keep sliding your paintbrush and keep coloring the border. Try to give 2 coatings of paint. Let the first coat get dry completely and then give the second coating in the same way. After doing 2 layers of white on the border sides, I'm going to use Camel Fabrica acrylic color. This is actually 400 silver metallic powder we are going to use, and it is in a powder form. So take it just a little bit in this cap, slightly tap and drag it on the white part in this way. I'm not using a brush here because brush will completely spread out the entire color. This is just giving the highlight to the border designs. Now the border will shine like pearls. It does gives a very beautiful effect. Make sure to wash your hand nicely after using this metallic color. Now next, for base, I'm going to use this kind of silver pigment. This is actually silver acrylic color, which is generally used in the hardware shops, and it has quite thick paint. I'm going to use my palette knife and scoop out a little bit, placing some random slidings, and this will give a little shine and texture to my painting. You can also do the same with the paintbrush. Now let's start coloring the lily, and for that I'm going to use white acrylic color for the center part first, and then a little bit of neon pink for the edging of flower. So using a round hair brush, first of all color this middle center, just a little bit white. We already used dual color sculpture paste so that we can get a shading in this flower, but this is just to give that shading highlight part. We're using a little bit of white in the center. And in the same way, we're going to do white shading in all the center part of the petals. I'm going to use pink 18 acrylic color in my round hair paintbrush and gently line the edges in this way. If you use neon pink, your flower is going to get bright like this, which looks a little unnatural, but you can give it a try. I'm using just a little bit of color in my paintbrush with a lot of water and giving the flower petal a slight and gentle wash. Do the same step with all the petals. First color the edges. Then give it a gentle wash. Now in the same way, I did color my previous flower, which looks like this, and I'm also going to color the bud in the same way. So now friends, let's start coloring our leaves. Now I'm using a light green color to color the leaves. Just use a little bit of green, it should be leaf green, and a lot of water in your paintbrush. And now in the same way, color all the leaves. Now after coloring all the leaves and all the petals of flowers, this is how our sculpture painting looks. Now friends, it's time to do the final part of the painting, that is to place pollens right in the center of lilies. So here I have some ready-made pollens. You can buy them from any craft store. I made them myself because currently I'm not going out. Or else you can also use this type of ready-made pollens. This is the simple glittering shiny pollens which we get in this kind of packet. What I did is, using some glue, Fevicol, I have stick 2 pollens to get this kind of head so that I can place it right in the center of our lily. So you can either place this pollen, you can also use a rice pollen for the sides, or else just use the simple pollen what you have. Now to make the center, I'm going to use a little bit of white sculpture paste. Drop it right in like this. Okay. Now I'm going to use a pin, make a hole, and first of all I'm going to put this center in. Okay. Then using my paintbrush, I'm going to give this top center some support. Try to give it as much as clean look possible. You see, the center should be nice and clean. And then I'm going to dig few holes like this. There are 6 petals, so there should be 6 pollens. And gently place a pollen inside. Once all the pollens are in, you can shape them according to your desire as you want them to be. Okay, I feel this looks good. I'll bend it just a little bit. Now after placing the center part for the flowers, this is how beautiful our sculpture painting of lilies look. The background has a beautiful timeless look with the shimmering shine of silver, and the colors of flower gives it the perfect amount of brightness and natural look. This is the combination I mostly like to make in my art pieces. So friends, do give it a try, make it yourself, and do tell me in the comments below what do you think about this beautiful painting. And if you do like my tutorials friends, please do like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching.